Horns up. There's a fast riff, a flat out fast riff, and I'll play it full speed and then slow, and then I'll break it down for you. Okay, looking at the fretting hand, I'll break the riff down for you. Okay, so first thing that happens is you slide into, with your index finger if it's easy for you, but I favour me middle finger, but if you want to slide on the index finger, then do so, whatever feels good to you. Okay, the first note of the riff is on fret space 3, in fret space 3 on the bottom E string, and it's a continuous alternate picking. We'll just do that clearly, like that. And then the next section is a small box pattern of notes, which goes like this. Optional to put a pinch harmonic in there as well if you want. If you don't want to do that, then absolutely fine, and I'll explain that to you later in the video. Okay, but this note pattern, and it is made up of, okay, fret space, the first note is fret space 5 on the A string, and the following note is on an upstroke if you hit the pick upstroke, or you could do a downstroke if you want. The next note is fret space 4 on the low E string, and then let go and hit the bottom open E string, and then after that come back up to fret space 3 on the E, and then fret space 4 and do a slight vibrato. And if you can do a pinch harmonic, which I'm not the best at, to be perfectly frank, but at the same time I did find myself doing it while making up this riff. Okay, so just do your vibrato with that fret space 4 note on bottom E, and then after that you go back into the picking on the fret space 3 on the low E string, and then after that is I'll explain what that is. Okay, I want to play it fast. as you saw me do just then, is like at the end of the riff you can do a slide off, but that's not actually part of the riff. But when I'm playing mid-riff, fast, it's not really practical. There's no room for me to do that. So, but anyway, from fret space 3 on the low E string, and fret space 5 on the A string with the third finger, and this is your first finger, your index finger, third finger or ring finger. So to hold this 2-note chord shape down of the G5 power chord, this is, and with that you slide, hold the same chord shape but slide up a fret space. The fret space 4 on the low E string and fret space 6 on the A string. And after doing that, one repetition of one slide, do that and let go, and then when you let go, hit the open bottom E string, and basically it's like you do this slide and hit the E string, but you do that 3 times, and then back to the first note again, into that, and then picking again. So the note pattern, the note fill, is the first part of the riff, and the slide chords, the sliding chords on the second part of the riff. So it's like first part, second part, and put that slide in there at the very end if you really want to, but it's just what came naturally, so you know. And now from the right hand position, looking at the picking hand here, okay, I'll play this riff slowly just a couple of times, and then I'll break down exactly what's going on with the picking hand. Okay, starting the riff. Okay, to start with, I'm going to explain the main picking part first before breaking the entire riff down. Now you see the way I accent this riff, where I do, if I slow it right down, now with the picking, I'm going, you see how I do I sort of like stop dead just a split second before going into either the fill or the chord sequence. From the picking, I'll just slow the right down, where I'm doing a now. Usually this riff is kind of like designed to go a complete entire alternate picking all the way through, like this. But the reason why I favour, personally, the reason why I'm and I thought I could teach you this, and when coming up with this riff, it sort of came out naturally. But I thought it seemed to be a really good idea. So what it is, instead, and the reason why I did a little sort of stop dead stabbing kind of motion with the picking there, for two reasons really. One, because I find what I've found is like it's easier for me to when it comes to continuous fast, that kind of fast, a continuous fast riff like that, and I found it tighter and more rhythmic, and I could really sort of like, and plus when pedaling on the E string and then coming into the or when coming into either one of those sections, I felt that doing the a slight pause, a slight stab on it, I felt it gave a bit of a pause, and the pause sort of allowed me to sort of like get a bit more control behind the pick for doing or I could really sort of like get more control behind the pick, and it helped me to sort of like give it a bit more welly, you know, and a bit more really, you know, to help me sort of like drive it a little harder into the notes, you know, into the either note pattern or a note pattern and the chords, you know, to sort of like give the riff a little bit more, give the actual execution of the riff, the technique of the riff, a little bit more, so I can put a little bit more character and conviction into it, like, you know. So rather than sort of like just gliding across the strings, you know, sort of tickling the strings and whatnot, I felt that, you know, I can hit them a little harder with that kind of technique. Okay, so enough rambling about that. I shall now go into I shall now break down the picking of the riff, like, you know. Okay, so it's like this, pedaling on the doing one of those pedaling continuous picking on the bottom string with the stab on it, and then into the working between. Let's turn the distortion down, it sounds a lot better for this kind of breaking it down. Okay, so working between the E string, and the A string, so it's like pick down, a downward motion on the A string, and an upward stroke on the low E string, followed by a downstroke on the open E string for the open note, and then coming back up on the fret space 3, an upstroke on the first note of that fill, followed by a downstroke into fret space 4, and this is where it's optional to do it. It's not really compulsory, but I favour it. It can actually sound good with a pinch harmonic kind of technique there. I don't profess to be I'm not absolutely brilliant at this kind of technique, but it does come out sometimes. And because I'm playing thrash and I'm playing fast, I don't always. Of course, every player is different, and they can find a way to sort of like throw it in there. And if you can do that, absolutely brilliant, you know, and do whatever you want. But basically, it's like of course, there's plenty of videos out there on pinch harmonic technique. You know, if you really want to be like kind of Zakk Wylde or whoever, any player like that you care to mention, or Dimebag or whoever, you know, basically you just. But the important part of this one is you can either do a bend like that, or you can, when you pick down, do a double vibrato like that, or do a or just bend upwards, bend up and down like that, or whatever you find the room for. But do bear in mind, it is a thrash, it is a fast riff, so there may not always be room to be quite so adventurous with it, but you know, just either a vibrato or a bend, you know, that's the main part of this riff. Okay, and then when you come back onto the picking again, and then you do the chord slide, and then when you let go of that, hit a downstroke on that bottom string and palm mute it. It's up to you whether you want to really choke it off, but be careful with the pickups there, or whether you want to sort of personally, I think a tighter, close it off more is sort of like, I would say close it off more for a bit of a tighter sound would be better in this kind of riff. But if you want to, you can, it's optional, so sort of like experiment a little bit and find your own range with palm muting and whatever kind of picking strokes and that kind of thing work for you, because you'll develop your own style of it, you know, once you get good at this riff, you know. Now, it's a very frantic and intense riff. It's important to build up slowly so you can develop the precise technique of picking, because it's important to lock in, and which is really hard to do. It's a really hard riff to nail like that. And as you can hear me when using the metronome in this video, you can hear me go out of time sometimes, which is very easy to do. So work hard on it. It takes a long time to build up this kind of stuff. It's a very hard riff, but fun to play, of course.